Okay, so this is the Better Brain, and I'm just going to go over the way it works, and we'll go through the process. And basically, what the Better Brain does is it takes content that we put in as an input, and that content becomes a topic, and then we choose a perspective, how who's the author of the content and who's the audience, and template is the output. So that's from the very beginning. So here are select topics, and here are some topics that have been selected already. And I'll just go ahead, for an example, New Orleans football. I'll click here, and the content would go right there. And this here is text content, but I could uh, use other content. So once I have that text content in, I will go ahead and I will communicate with the Copilot. Copilot here is supposed to help me with the content. And so I would communicate with Copilot there about refining what the content, what the topic is, and what the goals are, and the instructions relate to the creation of the topic. And once I get that completed, now let me go ahead and move this out of the way. Do the same thing for the perspectives. So, for example, uh, take this one, edit perspective. Who's the author? Who's the intended audience? And here, the author is an accountant, and the intended audience is members of the media. So, I would put the goal here and the instructions, and I would probably go and request the Copilot to help me with the goals or instructions. If I have background content, I can put that there, and so on. And last is the perspectives. I'm sorry, is the templates. And so let's just say that, uh, say, business TV segment or transcript of a professor lecturing the class, um, detailed infograph, and so on. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's that simple, but getting to the end is has a lot more bells and whistles. Um, as I go through here, uh, the backup JSON, that's the content here that is created is in JSON form. And to restore, if somehow I want to delete, or somehow this information here gets deleted, I can restore it. And this is just to back up the entire website. And so this is all under the data management of the Better Brain. So the first step we would do is we would go and we would create a selected topic. So I'm going to go and pause this right now to get ready to show how to select the topic. Okay, so let's see. Let me get back to our. Okay, so get back here. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to show how this thing works. So I created let's say I want to create a project, and I have content about that project that I want to input. So the first thing I would do is I would go here, and I'm just going to type in because I know the information, and it's going to be AI, jobs, and U.S. economy. Okay, and I'm going to paste in the content. And the content is, that's the golden truth. So, golden truth, of course, is we have to, that's the information that Better Brain is going to use and consider. So then the next thing we do is just go ahead and hit Save Project. Okay, so it says AI jobs and U.S. economy. So that's the topic that has been chosen. So I could go ahead and I could then go and select perspective and write what I want and template. But I do want to show how the interaction is with the Copilot. Okay, so you see that right off it says the U.S. economy, so it's already picked it up. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, tell me about this topic. And so it's thinking. Okay, so it's going to give me information about the topic. Okay, content summary, the data points, logic gap analysis, etc. Now, I want to point out this. These this is a fidelity receipt, and the purpose of this is for the user, say me, to make sure that the Better Brain understands exactly what the content is about. We don't want to have any hallucinations or false thinking, and so it's telling me that the intake is complete, and I want to show you that it's also saying down here, status, data verified, standing by for green light. So we're in Department 1 right now, and I'm satisfied with the content right there. And so I'm going to type in green light, and that's the signal. So I get Department 2, which is the logic library. And the logic library is, and this will be explained later in more detail, but we put together concepts that describe the information in the topic, and that's really critical. That it's we want to be able to use the same issues at a later time, and by creating these cartridges of topics, issues rather, by creating the issues, we are assured that there's a good chance of staying within the four corners of the content that we have inputted. And there's a good chance that the content, the issues that are in the cartridge would be adhered to and not very off. So, so here, this content is about the AI economy, and it says that's what it's recommending. Here's just some other cartridges, but the Copilot is recommending the economy AI impact, and that's what I want. And so it says, shall I load this cartridge? And if so, type confirm. And so, yes, I'm going to type confirm. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to now show you, I want to talk about the cartridges. And so here's the one that we're using right now, the Economy AI Impact. And let me go ahead and open this up. So what will happen is this. I will most likely ask you to create the cartridge and to create the concepts. This one has 27 concepts, and the AI has created this for me. Um, Actually, I need to change it. It has less than 27. So here are the governance rules, and it tells you exactly what the rules are, what the purpose is, and then we want to make sure that the end product of our action is being understood, read by the common person, not including these concepts. And so ultimately, we're going to be using the concepts with Obsidian, which I'll show at another time. But this is going to guide how the content is viewed and what is actually written about. And the AI, is going to help me create these concept and the definitions. So that's what this cartridge is. So moving forward for a second. Okay, so we're sharing again, and so as you see here, it says I've loaded the cartridge, and it says we're ready to go into the war room, and that's where the AI can help me with my goals, perspectives, and templates. So, it says what is your primary goal? And so what I did was I created the primary goal, at least telling the code pilot what I want. And basically, I'm going to just summarize, but it's to primary goal that I'm telling it is to understand the relationship between AI, the U.S. Jobs, and the economy. And I want to make sure that the information that we use is only in the golden truth, no hallucinations, and and as much of the content that is in the golden truth is just able to be discussed. So I go ahead and I click here. Okay, so I will say this, that So as you can see, it says, I ask, help me with creating the goals and instructions for this topic. And so here are the goals and the operating instructions. I can accept these, I can reject them. It depends upon what I want to do. But for our purpose right now, I'm just going to accept them. And so I want to make sure that I go and put it into the right topic. Okay, and so I save it. And as you can see, proceed to step two, perspectives. And that's, as I mentioned, who's the intended audience and who is speaking. So I do want to mention that it says here, it's trying to help me out and says, what is the desired author voice? And for example, I want to use urgent warning rather than strategic optimistic, but I don't want it to be as urgent or warning. I'm going to say that the it's concerned. So I go to the perspectives here, and I create a perspective. So I'm going to type concerned university professor, and students in class. Okay, so that's, let me just elaborate a little bit. Okay, so I decided to say university professor who fears massive job loss impacting current and future students and students in the class. And let's just say that I save this because I want to see what the goal is for the perspectives and the instructions. So I save this here, and I just tell Copilot that I have set the perspectives, which is current, which is a university professor, lecturing to his class about AI and job loss and impact upon the U.S. economy. So I didn't say that here, but when I created a template, let me see if I can make that change. When I created perspectives, I'm sorry. discuss the future economy. How's that? What present and future? I'm going to copy that. Okay, and I want to make sure that I tell it to please help me refine this the perspectives. And I hit the select. It's thinking. And so we're now in Department 4, Strategy Suite, Steps to Perspectives. And so, talking about the economy, AI impact. So here's proposed step. And so I'm just going to use it. I don't have to. I noticed that it doesn't mention the goals. Please help me create the goals and the instructions for the perspectives based upon your proposed step 2, and let's see what happens. Okay, so perspective goals. Okay, and I'm going to just copy it just for our purpose right now. And I'm going to just use it. Put it underneath here. And I save it. So now it's asking me to help, at least it's talking about step 3, the templates. That's the output. And it says please select or define, and it gives me some possible options. And so I want option would be a script or the text transcript so that's what I want. I want the text transcript of the lecture. Okay, and now I don't necessarily have to use this, but and I can be more specific about the instructions, like how many words I want the template to be, the output to be, the and other factors in discussing the the way that the information is going to be outputted. Just for an example, I could say, as you know, I could say just to repeat the second paragraph or put it in Spanish or whatever it may be. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll copy all this let me move this out the way and select template. So I don't think I have the template yet, so I'm going to add the template, which would be transcript of the professor lecture to students in class. And I want to put the instructions and the goals there. And I want to save. Okay. Now, as we remember, go back to Copilot. It says type launch or press the launch button, and that will start the generation of the output. So here's the launch button. Now this is very important. I want this to be have pro thinking involved. Also, the presentation. I showed you those concepts, and the concepts are to really help control the content that the output that we're going to get, and to use in Obsidian for future tracking of the content and issues. But I don't want those terms to be used in the output. And so I'm going to go with presentation. Now that presentation is basically going to not use those bracketed concepts, and to just speak in, say, in plain language. So I'm going to hit launch. First I have to perspective, concern, okay? So it's ready to go. So I'm going to hit launch. So here it is. That's the lecture. Okay? And above it, and I'm going to make sure that we don't use this part here. But anyway, that is the fidelity receipt, in terms of the output. And so once I have this, then I want to go ahead and I want to generate, I want to export. Okay, so I'm going to export this content here. And there it is, that's the export. So that's just the first part of this discussion, and hopefully everything is understood and went well.